You don't really know much about Halloween.
Hello and welcome back to another unboxing video. I am your host Joel. I am one half of the Newlydeads, and if you're wondering who the Newlydeads are, please go to our website at thenewlydeads.com to check out our blogs, our other YouTube content, our television show that is available on these 4 networks that I'll put up the information here. Also, that TV show Dollar Store Drive-In is converted into a podcast that is available on Spotify and a bunch of other fine podcasting directories. My wife and I are also artists, so you can find us at local pop-up markets, which on our website and our Facebook page. We will update that with the information as far as where you can find us when we do shows, which we're kind of have cut back on that a little bit just because time is short between our real life jobs and this jobby, as my wife calls it, which is our job / hobby. It keeps us really busy. So, but we do still make art and we enjoy doing that. As I've mentioned in some recent videos, my goal for the year is to grow the channel. So please like, subscribe, and share if you have not done so already. We appreciate those of you who have come back, and those of you who are new, welcome. So during the subscriber event that they had a sale going on, and of course, can't resist a sale. So these are my pickups from the January subscriber sale, which I subscribed again to Vinegar Syndrome, which is the label that we're talking about here, for yet another year. Whether that's a good decision or a bad decision remains to be seen, but the deal is done, the die is cast, and here we are. So the first film we have is The Ripper from 1985. This is about an old antique ring which turns a college professor into a homicidal maniac when he puts it on. The ring originally belonged to Jack the Ripper, and the Ripper's spirit possesses whoever wears it. So this is directed by Christopher Lewis, who did Blood Cult, which is on the shelf. This stars one Tom Savini, who you may recognize from Dawn of the Dead from 1978, as well as a slew of other stuff, as well as a whole lot of special effects, whatnots. So this is a shot-on-video film. It's got very mixed reviews, but some trivia here. Tom Savini was embarrassed by his involvement with the film when he attended a 1996 Fangoria Weekend of Horrors convention. Part of his routine there included playfully getting on his knees to beg forgiveness from horror fans at the gathering. So I had to know, and this was the best way to find it the best way to find out since it was on sale. So on the back, we've got information about the film, special features, some images from that. On the interior, we have one of the older cases here looking where they've just got an image of Mr. Savini with his crazy eyes and the cover of the film on the Blu-ray. Next up, we have, and I'm very excited about this, They Call Me Macho Woman. Oh, I put it over here. From 1989. So the plot of this film is that a chromatic superhero, Susan Morris, must learn to fend for herself when she decides to escape the urban jungle. While searching for a charming house in the countryside, he falls into the clutches of a band of muscular brutes. And that should say she. This is from the Internet Movie Database that I cut and paste that. So I should have done a little spell check there, and I apologize. So this is directed by Patrick G. Donahue, who did Kill Squad, which is on the shelf, and Ground Rules, which I need to look up because I'm curious what that is. This stars Deborah Sweeney, spelled a little interesting, who was in The Vineyard, which I talked about in a previous video. A little bit of trivia here. This is the second of only 2 movies made starring Deborah Sweeney. So with this, they like to do these crazy slip covers that are super bulky and long-lasting. So that's a box of slipcover right there. Inside, we have the another cover here variation. On the back, we've got information about the film, including the plot and the special features. Inside, we have lots of things actually. We've got the Blu-ray, which has the same as the slipcover. So I'll just move that. But we have an alternate cover there if you'd like to flip it around. I don't ever do that, but I know some people enjoy flipping those around. because they prefer the alternate cover. Inside, we have a poster, which is the same as the cover of the film. So we'll slip that back into the case. And then also, we have this lovely little booklet, which, as I've told you guys before, eventually I will get around to reading them. It just takes a little time. And inside, we have, some stills from the film, some essays, and some breakdown, of the plot of the film. This looks kind of crazy, and I feel that it's funny that they called her a superhero. From what I can see of the trailer, it's more of a revenge-o-matic sort of thing, but we'll find out here soon enough. So speaking of women empowerment films, next up we have Wonder Woman from 1973. Plot of this is that while looking into the disappearance of a Jai Alai athlete, an insurance investigator is targeted by the sexy all-girl army of rogue transplant surgeon Dr. Sue. This is directed by Robert Vincent O'Neill, who did Angel and Avenging Angel, which are on the shelf. I actually have the trilogy. There's actually a fourth film, but it's not available currently on Blu-ray. This stars one Sid Haig, who I have a tattoo of him on my arm, who you may remember from his role as Captain Spaulding in The Devil's Rejects, House of a Thousand Corpses, and Three from Hell, which multiple copies behind me here. A little bit of trivia here. The stunt women used in this film were all 14 or 15-year-old girls who were accompanied by their grandmothers. The Filipino stuntmen refused to wear either elbow pads or knee pads. There you go. So on the back, we've got information about the film. On the inside, we have Blu-ray and DVD. We also have a alternate cover there for those of you who like to flip the script, as it were. And this is another one I'm excited to see. It feels like it should be a revenge-o-matic, but it doesn't sound like it's going to end up that way. Now, this one was a last-minute pickup because I was reading about it and it sounded interesting. This is The Killing of Bobby Green from 1994. So the plot of this is that a tight group of high school friends, Ray, Dan, Christy, and Kelly, come up with the ultimate practical joke to play on their classmate, Bobby Green. What could possibly go wrong? It's not a spoiler, it's in the title. So this is directed by Mike McCleary, who did A Mother's Vengeance. Sounds like a Lifetime movie. And stars Chris Gu, who is it? A little bit of trivia here. This was shot during the summer of 1990 in southern New Jersey and southeastern Pennsylvania. Their masks in this look kind of like the ones from The Dark Knight, if you remember, the Joker's henchmen, which I don't think you'll be able to see here, but maybe if I can find an image, I'll slap it up on the screen for you. Inside, we have the Blu-ray with an alternate image there, and we have an alternate cover there if you want to flip it around. So this one just looked interesting. The trailer was interesting, and it was a last-minute thing. It was really inexpensive, so I had to pick it up. Same thing with this one, which is Guest House Paradiso from 1999, which this is about Richie and Eddie, a perverted loser and his alcoholic partner in crime who run the worst hotel in Britain, the Guest House Paradiso. This is directed by Adrian Edmondson, who was Vivian from The Young Ones, who was also in the film. And it stars Rick Mayall, who was Rick in The Young Ones, which is the whole reason I picked this up. I love The Young Ones. It was a big part of my high school career. And I have the Bad News. There was a collection that they released that included Bad News, which was a kind of Spinal Tap riff that had The Young Ones in it. Anyway, I'm a fan, and the trailer is insane. So a little bit of trivia here. The scene in which Richie yanks Eddie's head back with a hook up his nose was shot with the action in reverse and then played backwards in the final cut. So to achieve this, Adrian Edmondson learned to phonetically pronounce the phrase, "Excuse me one moment," backwards. Also, just a fun little extra bit here, this was Simon Pegg's first feature film appearance. Another reason to pick it up, because I'm a Simon Pegg fan. So on the back, information about the film. Inside, we have, again, that green slime looking thing, which I know what that's about, but I'm not going to give any spoilers in case you decide to see it. And there's Adrian and Rick hamming it up. So a lot of people who are slightly younger than I am may know Rick Mayall from Drop Dead Fred. I know him from The Young Ones. So next up, we have, here we go. Redneck Zombies, which I've been eyeballing this for a while, but I didn't want to get the Trauma version. No offense, Trauma, but your transfers are not great. Vinegar Syndrome does a much better job. So this is from 1989. I've actually seen this one before. So basic plot is a barrel of radioactive waste is lost in the woods. Some demented rednecks find it and use it as a part of their still. Everybody who drinks the liquor then proceeds to turn into zombies. Sounds a little like Street Trash, which is on the shelf. This is directed by Pericles Lunis, great name, who did Fighter and something called Loop. This stars Lisa M. DeHaven, who was in Her Alibi and the 1988 John Waters classic Hairspray. So a little bit of trivia here. The budget for this movie was so low that the filmmakers could only afford one breakaway candy glass bottle and was shot in 32 days on weekends over the course of a year. So this is kind of a notorious trauma film. And like I said, I've seen it, but it's been a long time ago since I've seen it. And I honestly don't remember too much about it. But I love zombies and I love trauma. I love low budget films. So it's just kind of a no-brainer. No pun intended. Next up, we have House of the Dead, aka Alien Zone from 1978. I'm excited about this one. So the plot is that it's a horror anthology with the mortician introducing each scary tale, which we love anthologies in this house. This is directed by Sharon Miller, who's done just oodles and oodles of television. The stars Bernard Fox, who was in A Night to Remember. Yes, the Titanic film from many, many moons ago. A little bit of trivia here. The screenplay was originally entitled Five Faces and then changed to Five Faces of Terror during production. Now, prior to release, the film's title was changed to Alien Zone by the distributor for unknown reasons, and then changed again to House of the Dead. So it just was a confederacy of dunces. That's what we're going to say. So inside we have the DVD, which has the Alien Zone title on it. Then we have the Blu-ray, which has, the cover art from House of the Dead. And then we have the cover, same thing there for Alien Zone. So they've got you covered. If you're a fan of this film, you've got everything you need to know. Now, this one I've mentioned several times since I picked it up. And I am thinking Mrs. Newlydead is going to be interested to see this because I've talked it up a little bit. I don't know what it's going to be like. This is a blind buy, as most of my films are that I pick up blind buys, unless they're things that I've seen, which I guess that's kind of redundant because then they wouldn't be blind buys. Anyway, this is Night Chills from 2001. So I'm going to read this. This is a long synopsis, but Night Chills is one of the rare films that plays both homage to its source material and takes it in a new direction. I'm going to skip all that. I'm just going to give you the rundown. This is a shot on video film about a group of Dungeons and Dragons players, if I remember correctly, that are then surreptitiously picked off one by one by a serial killer or murderer in a full night costume. So this is directed by Catherine Hicks. This is her only credit. Stars Laura Alexander. This is her only credit. And I don't have any trivia on it. And I've heard very mixed things. Most of them were not good. But I love shot on video. I love oddities. And how could you not want to see a movie about, somebody going around killing people in a full night getup? I don't know. Sounds crazy to me. That's why I like it. That's why I wanted to see it. For the last two things, as I mentioned on a recent video that you may have seen in my Unboxing After Dark video, where I talked about the Ed Wood adult films, I have been slowly building my Ed Wood collection of Blu-rays. So these are the two recent ones to be added to that. So we've got, first of all, Take It Out and Trade from 1970. So the plot of this is a couple hire a detective to locate their missing daughter. He finds her in a house of ill repute. Directed by Edward D. Wood Jr., who did Bride of the Monster, among other things, and stars Edward D. Wood Jr., who was in Glen or Glenda, as well as a host of other things. A little bit of trivia here, thought to be a lost film, since not shown publicly for many years, but the full 80-minute print exhibited at Anthology Film Archives in New York City on September 14th, 2014, after it was located. So on the back, we've got the information about the film, some stills. This is an AGFA, which I love AGFA. Inside, we have the Blu-ray. We've got a clapperboard here with the Take It Out and Trade information on it. And we've got a little tiny booklet that goes with it. And it also includes the clapboard. And inside we've got a picture of Mr. Wood mid-direction, again with the clapboard. And then we've got the art from, I believe that is probably the DVD, I'm not sure, from Something Weird Video, which I think that might be, they might have worked together with them. Yep, makes sense. All right, and finally, we have The Violent Years from 1956. I've seen this one a couple of times, actually. So Paula Pakins is the teenage daughter of wealthy parents who can't seem to make time for her. So she looks for thrills as the leader of her all-girl gang who rob and essay young men. So this is directed by William Morgan, who did Mr. District Attorney, which I know that I want to say this is actually directed by Ed Wood, but I'll have to put that up here because I know he's attributed with it, and I don't know whether that's because he wrote it or directed it. I'm pretty sure he directed it, but I have on here William Morgan for some reason. I'll clarify it here for you. This stars Jean Moorhead, who was in Daddy Longlegs. So a little bit of trivia here. The 4 girls who act like a violent gang of men adopt male names. Paula is Paul, Geraldine is Jerry, Phyllis is Phil, and Georgia is George. Very creative. On the back, we have information about the film. Some stills from that. Inside, we have another booklet. We've got the really basic Blu-ray there, and we have the original, sorry about that, the original post art from the film. Now, the cover here, we've got a marquee that's showing the film. And inside, we've got some images, some newspaper clippings, it looks like. And yeah, not really, it's more of a collection of like things related to the film, not necessarily essays on it. So interesting. All right, that is it for this subscriber sale pickup. I hope you've enjoyed your time here today. And please like, subscribe, and share. And I want to thank you all for watching. And just remember that tomorrow is not guaranteed, so don't forget to unbox your heart. See you next time.
Should be done, you see, between the real and the unreal. The dead might be looking at Halloween, the festival of Samhain.